Good evening, everyone. Day 2 of Vlogtober, and we have another story this evening. So let's get into it. The little boy stood in front of the mirror, gazing at himself. Every day after school, for a half hour, he would stand there. When the boy would move away, his mother would examine the surface. To her, there was nothing special. It was just a mirror. What did he see? For a month, she waited for this habit to stop. When it continued, she finally asked what it was that he looked at each afternoon. "The lady," he simply replied. "What lady, Todd?" his mother asked. Looking directly ahead, he pointed. "Her." His mother strained her eyes, desperate to see what he did. She had never questioned anything her son would tell her, but this time she felt she had no choice. Before bed one evening, she was by his side. "Now, Todd, you know there is no one in the mirror. Not even the lady," she assured him. "No, she's there," he answered. He didn't seem bothered by her. Maybe his mother was taking things too serious. It was only a figment of a young boy's imagination. If he wasn't worried, neither would she be. Another month passed. Halloween was quickly approaching. Now, as I've stated, she had not been bothered since her son was unharmed. A Friday night, when passing his room, she stopped by his door. Within his room, she made out voices, though only whispers. She gently knocked on the door. "Todd, you all right?" his mother inquired. "Yes, Mom," he replied, then giggled. "Get to sleep, my son," she told him. "Okay," he shouted from the other side of the door. His mother stood for a moment or two, listening. When she was confident he had fallen asleep, she walked on to her own room. Stopping for a moment at her door, she glanced back, then shook her head. He had such an imagination. She thought to herself. This caused her to go back downstairs, though. The problem was, it wasn't his imagination. The woman was real. The spirit had told him she'd been waiting so long for him. That night, Todd's mother took down the mirror and stored it in the garage rafters. The following morning was like every other one. Todd was ready for school, had breakfast, and left on his bus. His mother was very happy that he hadn't noticed it was gone. But she knew when he came home it would be different. Sure enough, once Todd was home, he rushed to find the mirror gone. He turned towards his mother with a horrible scowl. "Where is it?" he asked, slowly moving towards her. "It is in a safe place," she assured him. "Where?" his voice louder. "Go to your room. I won't accept you speaking to me like that." Todd stomped on each step on his way up. From the living room, she could hear movement above in Todd's room. "Todd, what are you doing?" she shouted from the bottom stair. He opened his door a crack. "Nothing," he shouted. Patty had had enough. She quickly made her way to his room. She stopped at his door and listened. He was carrying on a conversation. Expecting to catch him on the phone, she flung his door open. "Who are you talking to?" she asked, looking around his room. She seen it. The mirror leaning against his wall. "How did you get this up here?" Patty waited for an answer. Todd was only 8. It was a large piece of glass. "Who helped you?" she demanded to know. "No one. It was here already," he told her. There was no telling sound in his voice that he was lying. Patty took the mirror from his room and marched it back out to the garage. "I'll make sure it stays here." She stood it up in a metal closet, locking it, then locking the garage door. Turning round, Todd stood there. "Get back inside the house." "I want the mirror." He crossed his arms. "No." His mother said, turning him around. "Up to your room and bed. You have school in the morning." Todd did as he was told begrudgingly. Next morning, their routine was followed. Walking back down the hall to the kitchen, Patty was stunned. The mirror was back. In desperation, she asked her neighbor if she could store the mirror in their basement. By the end of the day, the mirror was at her neighbor's house. With a sigh of relief, Patty went about her chores until her son returned home from school. She heard the bus pull up, the front door open, then nothing. "Todd?" she shouted. There was no response. Patty put down the tea towel and walked to the front door. Todd's backpack lay on the bench below the mirror. Quickly, she dialed her neighbor. "Is the mirror still in your basement?" The confused neighbor replied, You came and got the mirror this afternoon." Patty was taken back. "Oh, yes, I've been so busy. I can't keep track. I must have put it down somewhere." She hung up. A doppelganger? Was it possible the ghost in the mirror could be a doppelganger? Patty didn't know much about such things and didn't want to. She made her way up the stairs to check on Todd and how his day at school was. Smiling wide, she opened his door. Empty. "Todd?" No answer. He must be outside. Closing the door, she made her way down the stairs. She could hear a muffled conversation in the kitchen. No one was there. She checked the backyard. It was empty. She went along the alleyway to the front. Not a soul was out. Entering the house, she shouted again, "Todd?" Panic began to swell. Where was the boy? Then slowly she walked to the mirror. There were 2 little handprints at the bottom. She seen quick movement in the reflective surface. Horror struck her heart. The movement was within the mirror. Patty waited till it was dark. She brought out a chair from the kitchen in front of the mirror. She lit a candle and placed it on a bench. She had seen this on TV. Patty sat staring into the mirror. 5 minutes, then movement was evident. It was Todd, with the woman by his side. "Give me back my son," Patty implored her. "Please," she begged. Patty could tell Todd had been crying. "Toddy, try and get away. Come to Mummy." She stretched out her arms. "Try, baby boy, try," she encouraged him. It was no use. The woman held strong to him. Again, Patty attempted to get her son. "Please, as a mother, you must understand. Please." Her voice, now calm, her body relaxed enough for her back to stop aching. "He's my son." The voice came through the mirror. I've waited many years for him. But he's not your son. The image faded. Patty was frantic. She blew out the candle and slept on the sofa. In the morning, she called the school to inform them that Todd had been taken ill and would be out for the remainder of the week. Sitting down at her laptop, she searched the archives for information. There was relief when the answer was in front of her. She read Susan Waters of 126 Downing Street. Lost her son to a fall down the basement stairs of her home. The 8-year-old boy was carrying a box of apples to the coal cellar when the accident occurred. Patty sat back in her chair. The photo of the child looked like Todd. What was she going to do? Further research led her to a cemetery on the outskirts of town. Row by row, she read each tombstone until finally, there they were, father, mother, and son. Patty knelt by the grave, placing a quarter on the ledge of the stone. Susan, I implore you, please return my son to me. Yours is right here with you. I'm reading his name, Nathan. Patty felt a touch of a small hand on her shoulder. Turning, she realized it was Nathan. Where's my mom? Daddy and I have been searching for her. His little face frowning. Can you come with me? I'll take you to your mother. I know where she is. Daddy says I can't go. He said, close to tears. Is your dad here? Ask him to show himself. Seconds later, a handsome man came into being. Please, your wife has my son in the mirror. She won't give him back. She believes my Todd is your Nathan. Patty pulled out her wallet to show him the resemblance. Daddy says we'll both go. We know the way. With that, he was gone. Patty jumped into her car and headed home, praying Susan would release her son. Pulling into the driveway, a sick feeling overcame her. Moments later, she was inside the living room. There, on the floor, sat a child. Todd? She asked sweetly. Is that you, sweet boy? For a moment, there was silence. Then, like a dam bursting, the excitement boiled over. Todd shot up straight, running to his mother. He held her just as tight as she did. I'm so glad you're home, so glad, Patty told him. I missed you, Mom, and my toys. I don't ever want to go back. Please make me not go there. He hugged his mother tighter than he ever had. You don't have to. She has her son. She has her Nathan now. One more glance in the mirror. Patty and Todd seen Susan, James, and Nathan in the reflection. Then seconds later they faded, and only Patty and Todd were there. I hope you enjoyed this story, the second installment for Vlogtober. Thank you to my YouTube family for joining me for this. Greatly appreciate it. And I trust we all enjoyed ourselves over at Misfits and Dreamers this evening. They had rock and roll trivia. And they are working, I believe Bob is editing a movie that he and Bonnie have made. Their first movie was great, so I can't wait to see the second one. Anybody new to my channel, please feel free to check any of my other videos that are here. If you find something that you like, give it a thumbs up, drop me a comment, and share it out. That's always appreciated. While you're here, consider becoming a subscriber, and if you do, remember to click that notification bell so that you'll know the next time that I upload. So, have a great rest of your, I almost said Sunday. of your Saturday. It's been raining here and cool all day long, and I believe it's supposed to be the same tomorrow. But we'll see. Anyways, so everyone have a good evening, and until the next time, ciao for now.